Mexico City's historic center sits on ground where successive empires built directly on top of one another's ruins. The stone foundations here hold centuries of shifting power. Outside the National Art Museum in Plaza Tulsa sits this massive bronze equestrian statue of the Spanish King Charles IV. When Mexico won its independence, statues of Spanish monarchs were obvious targets for destruction. This piece survived the initial anger only because it was hidden away at a university and later relocated several times to the city's outskirts. Moving the monarch to this specific plaza emphasizes the artistic craftsmanship of the sculptor, Manuel Tolsa, over the political rank of the subject. In this space, the king is a historical artifact rather than a governing authority. In 1904, architect Silvio Contri deliberately set the building's footprint back, carving out Plaza Tulsa. This setback gave breathing room to the adjacent Palace of Mines, ensuring his massive structure didn't overshadow the older neoclassical masterpiece. At its inception, this structure served as the Palace of Communications and Public Works. President Porfirio Diaz used infrastructure to broadcast Mexico's industrial modernization to the global stage. The telegraphs, railroads, and mail systems managed inside required an architectural shell that projected absolute stability. The heavy stone facade and meticulous classical columns acted as a political tool. The building was a physical argument that Mexico had entered the global industrial order as a stable, modern power. Inside the main entrance, every surface is covered in the style Capet, a dense style of Florentine decoration designed by the Capet family. It blends Renaissance revival with lush floral and mythological motifs. Yet the classical stonework is largely an illusion. The walls hide a modern, metallic skeleton and a complex network of industrial mechanics. The construction relied on an international supply chain, with the structural steel grid forged and imported from Milliken Brothers in New York. The internal mechanics were similarly outsourced, featuring advanced heating systems and modern Milanese elevators. The most elaborate space, the reception hall, functioned as a ceremonial stage. With its leaded crystal and precious metals, President Diaz used this room to receive foreign ambassadors and display state wealth. By importing every technical and decorative detail from abroad, the administration could present a vision of Mexico that mirrored the technical standards of a European capital. The art housed inside these walls tells a different story. Moving through the galleries, the collection shifts from European-style religious paintings into a search for a distinct Mexican identity. In the late 19th century, artist José María Velasco began painting the Valley of Mexico on a monumental scale. Velasco approached the canvas like a scientist. He used precise geological observation and botanical accuracy to document the volcanoes and native plants of the high plateau. Mastering this geography gave the country a visual anchor. His landscapes showed an environment that belonged only to Mexico, fostering a sense of national territory. After the 1910 revolution, the next generation of artists took this independence further. They actively rejected the academic, Eurocentric norms favored by previous regimes. Prominent muralists, including Diego Rivera, sought to capture the unpolished reality of the post-revolutionary nation. Their work shifted toward themes of social justice, indigenous representation, and the historical struggles of the working class. These works create a permanent friction, housing the nation's post-revolutionary identity within the very palace that once sought to project a purely European image. In 1982, the building was transformed from a bureaucratic communications hub into the National Art Museum, or MUNAL. This flyer shows how MUNAL operates today, as an active space for contemporary cultural programming and education, rather than a repository for the past. As students sketch in the hallways and tour groups move through the galleries, the public recontextualizes the original imperial architecture, claiming the space for modern citizens. Navigating these spaces today means moving through a paradox, seeing revolutionary and indigenous art preserved inside a monument built to honor the regime that preceded it.